Hey there guys, John Gale here, Japanese language instructor and game designer from Nashville, Tennessee, trying to stream on YouTube for the first time because coming up this weekend, starting today, is the Ludum Dare, however you want to pronounce it, International Game Jam. Starts tonight, just in a few hours. We'll go to the website. And if you want to get involved, visit the website ldjam.com. And right now, theme voting is going on. What I really like about Ludum Dare is that they let the community be involved in the theme selection. And so there's several rounds of voting. Right now, we're in the final round. So you can go vote for what ideas you would like to have on there. You go create an account, then you could submit a game, play other people's games. Also, what I really like about this game jam is it encourages you to play other people's games, and that will increase the visibility of your game in the feeds. And then more people will play your game, the more you play other people's games. So we're about 8 hours, 32 minutes away before the theme announces. And here in Nashville, Tennessee, for the Nashville game developers, we are having a meetup. You'll in the Nashville area will know this weekend's going to be kind of crazy with the marathon and NFL draft and Jimmy Buffett concert. We have about 300,000 people projected to visit the city just this weekend. So we are just going to meet up tonight at 7:30 p.m. at Qdoba in Brentwood. That's near the Target. And we're just going to hang out and eat for 30 minutes. Then they announce the theme at 8. And we may see how we can collaborate or share ideas, brainstorm, that type of thing. So I hope you'll be able to join us. I mean, we have over 1,000 members in a Nashville game developers group who in theory want to make games. So here's the chance to make games this weekend. And what I thought I would do, we still have 8.5 hours before the jam actually kicks off. What I thought I would do is sort of show how I'm preparing for it. I'm spending today just getting ready for it. Again, where you can vote on the themes, you've got an idea. However many, 20 or so themes we have, it's going to be one of these at some point. And I can go ahead and start formulating ideas for that. So for some of these, I forgot to bring up my document. Let me bring up my document I made of the ideas I've been coming up with. Okay, let's go back. Here are the themes, and here are my ideas for them. So what I've seen a lot of times for Ludum Dare is they announce the theme Friday at 8. When we've gotten together, maybe we'll watch the keynote together. And there's like this brainstorming period where sometimes you can really struggle to come up with an idea based on that theme. And that happened to me at the last one at Ludum Dare 43. I kind of struggled and then got on a team and we had some people. We came up with our idea, and I was really proud of that project, which you can play on my profile site. But I thought this time, to sort of prevent that, I would go ahead and look at all 20-some themes and already kind of sketch down an idea and what tools I may be using. And I was going to even start with some base projects to prepare myself for when one of the themes got announced. So we can see the first theme, limited memory. I've had two potential tools I could use. Use RPG Maker or Unity. I've decided to go with RPG Maker on that. While I've got it up, there are two in the list. I'm not going to go in order. Ridiculously Overpowered and Tiny Town are two of the themes. And just yesterday in Unity, I was working on this Western shooter project. Here in Unity. And I thought I could go ahead. This is part of a mobile VR course I've been taking online, and I thought I could go ahead and use this project as the base for what I do. So I'll show you what I made, how the game works. Basically, you're going to see OBS for a second look all crazy. We go into Unity. And so the basic idea was you have a Western shooter. We've got some bottles for targets. It's random how many of the bottles are going to show up. I've got 4. It's timing me. And I don't know if you can hear the gunshot, but I shoot the 4 bottles off and I clear that round. I've got my time right there. Then I've got my little scene's going to reset, random bottles. Got my cowboy character right here. He's not rigged to animate, so he just stands there. And so since I've already got this game running, I thought I could use that as the basis for Tiny Town and Ridiculously Overpowered. So Ridiculously Overpowered, if that's the theme, I'm going to take this exact same project, and instead of the little pea shooter here, I'm going to have missiles, grenades, bombs, all sorts of ridiculously overpowered weapons to shoot the bottles down. The challenges are going to be how to reflect damage. Only 1 bottle, huh? How to reflect damage on the buildings and objects within the scene. For Tiny Town, I'm going to have to find some other 3D model that's animated, that's rigged to animate and move around. And a couple ideas for this. Maybe within the scene we have giants walking around who are stomping on the buildings and things, and we got to try to shoot them to chase the giants away. Or something where you could actually walk around the town and maybe it's dying because of a lack of tourism or something like that. And I don't know, I like the giants idea better. It would be hard to implement because, again, if they step on a building or something, how am I going to animate the damage and all of that? That's part of the fun of a game jam, is figuring those things out. So if it's one of those 2 themes, I'm going to use my cowboy project here. Could sing the Kid Rock song as I work on it. So that's that. That's what I would do. So let's go back. OBS, and let's talk about game design. That's what I would do for those 2 themes in Unity. There are now other 2 groups of 4 themes where I think I could make the one project. So you see here I have highlighted in the blue. The themes are limited memory, your life is currency, side effects, and risky power-ups, and everything has a price. So that's about 5 ideas. If it's one of those themes, I was thinking of one project in RPG Maker where, like, just sort of based on the your life is currency, like you've got all these things going on in your life, work and relationships and hobbies, and that every time you do something, something else is subtracted. You know, if it's limited memory, you're going to commit to all these activities, but then you're going to forget certain things, and by forgetting them, like maybe you have a menu where you can choose what option you're going to do, but some menu options are missing because the character has forgotten them. Even if the player didn't forget them, the character did. So those won't be available just because you're trying to do too much. Your life is currency. Again, any decision you make to hang out with friends or do your hobby drains your actual HP, and you'd have a game over when you hit 0 HP. Side effects, each decision has an unintended side effect. So if you do one thing, that means you cannot do something else. Or side effects, traditional RPG Maker side effects like poison and things like that would generally drain the HP. Risky power-ups, the same idea as the life game, but you power up your money or your romantic appeal, which then has consequences and prices in other parts of the life, and everything has a price. The same idea. It can be money, it could be HP. I think those ideas are similar enough to where I could go ahead and make one base project today and then tweak the mechanics based off of which theme actually gets chosen in the voting. And then the other thing, I have these olive green highlighted themes, and that's what I'm going to actually name the game, is Olive Green. Shelter, Contagious, Mutation, and Underground. I really like one-word themes like this because it gives people a lot of flexibility and a lot of creativity to take that however you want. I kind of see these four as being pretty similar in that you have, again, an RPG Maker, some sort of post-apocalyptic world that's been overrun by radiation or disease, and the player has to navigate this world to get items for survival or try to get from a point A to a point B. Occasionally, you're going to have waves of nuclear radiation or waves of disease happen, and when those start to come, the player has to find shelter or get to the underground to avoid that wave. If they hit with the wave, they would either mutate and could have, powers increase or decrease of abilities to be able to navigate the world. That would be mutation, or contagious. They start to get sick and have to deal with other people who are infected with the disease. Those would be the hazards within the world. So those are four ideas that I think are pretty similar enough where I could go ahead and make one base project today and then tweak it based on what's needed. So that sort of influenced how I voted for the themes. I had voted one way out of emotion. I guess a lot of people do that in elections. They vote out of emotion. But then I went back and thought of my ideas and voted based on the ideas. Now I could vote against something and still be selected. So I talked about ridiculously overpowered. Space exploration, I have another Unity project, sort of like a wormhole, dodge the hazards sort of project, and I just built that in a day again through a class. And had some ideas for how to expand it, so I'm just going to take the weekend to do that. Change the genre of a classic video game. This is an idea. I voted against it. I'm going to also actively campaign against this theme, because what I think are great about game jams and what I really like to see, just personally, I like to see original work, original ideas, original characters, original artwork. And this theme doesn't allow for that. My interpretation of it is you actually have to take a classic video game that someone else created and steal their property, steal their ideas, steal their characters, and just change the genre of it. If it is selected, I already decided to use RPG Maker to take Donkey Kong and make it into an RPG with traditional battles where you fight the barrels as an enemy or fight Donkey Kong as a boss. Again, I don't like that one. There's just something going on in the world today where I think original works are being less appreciated. People like mashups and parodies a lot more. Just for example, like in the music I follow, I feel like the biggest thing that happened in music during a short period of time was when my favorite band, Weezer, covered the Toto song Africa from the 80s, and then Weird Al did a video that parodied the old Weezer videos for Undone the Sweater Song and Buddy Holly. And that was like such a huge deal. That was all over my feeds that, Weird Al made this video of Weezer covering the Toto song. And then I thought, like, there's nothing original. Like, this is such a huge deal. It's so popular, but there is nothing original in that. Like, the original song was released in the 80s by Toto. Those videos that Weird Al took the ideas from were from the 90s Weezer's videos, but people were just all over that. And so that's what I'm talking about. Like, I just really miss original works a lot of times, and that's why I'm actively campaigning against change the genre of a classic video game. I want to see people make original things. Only one enemy. I voted against this one because I don't have a lot of ideas. Have some sort of, I wanted something clever where there's like a mirror and the one enemy is essentially yourself. I was kind of tying it back into the life ideas, but I don't like the actual mirror mechanic could be a little difficult. I was going to search Unity Asset Store for some things. Risky power-ups I talked about. Color changes everything. I liked this idea. I'd come up with an idea for a hyper-casual game to make in Unity, sort of similar to a block breaker game, like my game that's already out, Hiragana Breaker, on iOS and Android, where you'd have a color of a ball. Let's say on level 1 it's blue, and all the blocks are blue. And as long as the ball hits a blue block, it'll break it. But then you'd also, in later levels, then add red blocks, and the player would have to change the color of the ball to red to then break the red blocks to be able to proceed, and that you only had a limited number of changes. That you could get more changes the more points you got through breaking blocks. There'd also be a time limit, and that you could increase your time again through breaking blocks and getting points. But there would come a point in a game where you would run out of time and the game would be over, and then you'd have to start over. And I thought this could be something I could actually ship for mobile as a hyper casual game. So I was kind of excited about that idea. Again, I have things from the asset store, blocks and colored balls that I could use for that, but then that would be the only thing. I couldn't use that project in anything else. The final theme idea I'm going to talk about, no upgrades, only downgrades. Campaigning and voting against this one too, because the theme for Ludum Dare 43 was sacrifices must be made. And I feel like this is kind of similar to the last time we did this game jam, because my team during that, we made a game that I'm really proud of called Hermenegildo, which was a Spanish saint who's associated with sacrifice in the Spanish language. Where we had the player was fully upgraded, and that each stage of the game you had to sacrifice one of your upgrades, so that by the end essentially you were defenseless and powerless and subject to the hazards within the game scene. Really proud of that game, but of course, as with a game jam, we did not finish all the ideas that we had. And so if this does happen to be the theme, I don't know if this is against the rules to Ludum Dare. They say in the rules you can use any base project, any base code that you already have. That's why I'm doing this. But I would just take that game, that completed game that we made, and expand on it. You rename it Hermenegildo EX or something. I feel really cheap about that. Just taking the same game and expanding on it and submitting it to Ludum Dare again. But it's the same idea for what we did per the theme, and it just would save a lot of work and be able to make that game the vision that we truly had. So those are the ideas I've been working on, thinking up, and getting prepared for Ludum Dare. So what I'm going to do now until about lunchtime is start making these base RPG maker projects. Let me put the break screen up for just a second. See how we're doing. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is go into RPG Maker. I've already got in Unity, except for the colors, I've already got what I want. I hope I don't have to do an update. Let me put the break screen on. One thing I don't like about buying stuff off of Steam is how you have to have Steam open or running to be able to launch the software. Okay, here we go. Here's what I made for the Global Game Jam. We're going to create a new project. We'll call it LD44. I'm going to call this Olive Green. Going to start with that post-apocalyptic world. Hit OK. And it has to copy all the default assets that come with RPG Maker to make the new project. Now, this is what I love about RPG Maker is it already has so much art and music and sound effects for you to use. And also what I tell people is just the ease of use. You have a lot of limitations, but you know what takes me 2 hours to do in Unity, I can do in 30 minutes here in RPG Maker. So, and just in terms of getting ideas running, it's a lot quicker tool if you can just work within the confines of 2D top-down and no physics. And if you want some of the fancier stuff, there are plugins out there for it. Okay, whenever I start a new RPG Maker project, there's a few things I have to do. I have to go to the plugin manager, and this made with MV, I'm going to turn this off. That just shows every time you run the game, it's like this game was made with RPG Maker MV. It shows that little splash screen, and you have to run and test your game so many times that you know, if it takes 5 seconds, those 5 seconds every time add up to minutes and hours. So I turn that off. I'm gonna mute the volume on my computer. I'm going to run the game as it is. Command S, Command R for run. Save, then run. Here's the default. Go to options. Another thing I do at the beginning of every project is I turn all the volume levels down to 20% because things found in RPG Maker runs really hot by default. And it can really, I've done a workshop on RPG Maker every now and then, and it will really just blow people's ears out in the room if someone has those at 100% and runs their games. Now what I'm going to do with olive green, I'm going to load a map. RPG Maker also comes with a lot of pre-made maps. So if you're lazy, like I am, you could borrow one of their maps. They've done most of the work for you, and go from there. And again, I'm looking for like a post-apocalyptic scene. So far I'm liking this one the best because it doesn't have a whole lot of water like that one did. That's already kind of snowy, but that's a lot of water. I want the player to be able to navigate almost through the entire world, and like I said, have to collect items for survival or get from a point A to point B. This looks pretty wastelandy already, so I'm gonna go with this. Okay, I'm gonna set my player's starting position to, okay, good. It's only like one continent, and you could, looks like you can traverse. The dark blue is deep water, the light blue is shallow water. That has to do with the different vehicles and ships in the game default game engine. So it looks like you can navigate to all the islands just through shallow water, which would save me some headache. We wanted to go from like a point A to point B. Maybe point B could be this island up here, and so point A, where we start off, be one of these extremes. We will set the starting position of the player to here. Now what I'm going to do, since I'm now in the weeds and getting to work, I'm going to go ahead and just go full screen on this. So that's where I've set the player to start off. Just for now, just for testing, I'm going to delete the default map that was there. This is going to be my world map. Curious about some things. I'm going to go find this project. The way you can collaborate with other people in RPG Maker, and what my team did last time, is you can save the maps. Your maps are saved as JavaScript files, and I'm just trying to find where they're saved. Map and this. Map 001 JSON showing the enclosed folder. Okay. I was wondering how this map gets saved. Maybe I need to save my game. There it is, map 002. Saw it today, 11:50. Okay. That's what it's called. I'm gonna, no, that says 001. That's confusing. There we go. World 5. World map 002. I like to keep the numbering with these consistent. In case I'm going to collaborate with somebody over the weekend. Don't know what will happen. I'm just getting ready. Part of me would like to adjust the colors of this tile palette. Sort of a stretch goal. This one looks pretty good to what I was envisioning. One thing I do want to do though is go into the database, which this is everything in RPG Maker. Absolutely everything you could want. One thing I'm going to do is put the break screen on, move Chrome over, and just make sure we don't have any comments or anything. I can't really see comments if we have them. So that's my screen. Alright, back to work. One thing I like to do, I just like to have single player games. I love using RPG Maker in a way to where I'm not forcing myself to actually make the traditional JRPG. One thing I also do at game jams is I make myself the main character, which is kind of fun to create experiences that have had nothing to do with my life, but I get to act them out. Deleting all the actors so that I only have one party member. Don't need player followers. I think it'd be too much to add party formation and that type of thing. I don't really intend to use the battle system, but if I do, I always like the side view battle. So those are, again, things I typically do when I start an RPG Maker project. So I've only got one player character. If we got in a battle, it would be a side view battle. Now I need to go into the character designer, and I'm going to design what I look like, even though I've done this time and time again. I like to redesign it, but you know what? I may cheat a little bit. Where's that folder? I'll do, come on. Okay. Oh yeah, I do always make a new folder, and I'm going to use my global game jam character. All I did was copy the JavaScript file. I guess I should take the moment to teach a little bit about RPG Maker here in the character creator. When you adjust all these settings here, let's randomize them. When you adjust all this, I basically to be one of my enemies. I kind of like that already. It basically just randomizes the different settings for faces and hair colors and hairstyles and everything, and then you save it as a JavaScript. So by copying my old Don character, I can just load him in, and that game is meant to say I'm really, tired and everything, so that's why the eyes look all baggy. I think that was nope, no facial mark, that was the eyes. Well, I don't know, it's still a little post-apocalyptic. That was what I had. Just kind of tired. Anime eyes looking really focused, looking really worried. There we go. He looks focused. Looks pissed off. The mouth. You know, some of this detail is just kind of really unnecessary. My hair is not that long. Turn on the camera. Dude, it's never like how my hair looks in these videos. A little shorter than that right now. Longer. Why does everybody have to have really long hair? Oh my goodness. Just getting worse. There, we'll go with that. We'll go with that for this game. And then what type of clothing is John gonna wear? It's post-apocalyptic. I just shuffle through. That one. I've got like a Han Solo type look. What I'm feeling the most right now. Yeah. Okay, and just give a quick look. Make sure there's nothing. Yeah, I like that. I like that suit. Kind of like that default color set too. So we're just gonna save. I'm gonna write over this one because the original I had is still in that project. Okay, so here is a basic character. I don't know if he's going to do dialogue or anything, but now what I need to do is export each one and make a file of it. So just in case there's actual dialogue, say John face. We definitely need this one. And we'll likely need this for a game over setting. Damage. And just in case, we'll take the battler images. This is if I do use the side view battle. Battler. Okay, so I've created myself. Go back into the database. Do my actor, who I've renamed John. Remove the default one. There he is, looking kinda sad. There's John walking. And there's John in battle. Okay, there's the character. I'm not messing with the class or levels or anything like that. There won't necessarily be level ups at first. And there he is, ready to walk the desert. I can go ahead. Yeah, see, that's still pretty loud. Okay, and there he's walking around. Looks like we'll need a boat or something to get over the water. How would I transport the boat? I do believe the boat could, you know, that may be fun to use the boat to sort of dodge hazards that are on the land, but then much of that, and there'd be some hazards in the water, or the being in the water makes it harder to get to a shelter when the wave of radiation is starting to happen. Okay, looking at this map, here's what I see. That you go this way, you'll be blocked by the river, but maybe you could go up here and find a canoe. and you could use that to canoe your way towards the location B. But again, if you stay in the water too long, the wave will get you. So what we need is we need I think we need for narrative purpose, we need location A. And what I imagine location A being, here we go. Need to be in tile mode. Alright, oop, undo that. Add the tool to paint everything. Okay, John has a little bit of a tent right there, so he had a tent. No. Tent is actually, you know what, if I work this right, I can tie this into the Camarine Gildo narrative. I can make it part of the same universe. That's what's big right now, right? You know, everything being in the same universe. Go back to my screen only. So if I had it in the same universe as my last Ludum Dare game, the idea was they were in some sort of facility like a tower, and the facility was running out of resources, and humans, the robots had to test items and get ready for the humans to make a migration to a safer human settlement. So, well, let me see what's in C. Post-apocalyptic. Like if you had one of these buildings that was sort of crumbling, decrepit. Oh, we do. Okay. That's too much. Like that's not obvious what that is. Let's see. Looks. Well, it could just be a placeholder for now. That looks like Godzilla smashed it or something. I'm really wanting just something that's old and run down. Could go with that. And they got built on top of each other. There we go. That's kind of how you have to erase things in RPG Maker. It's just paint over it. I'm gonna go with this tower because it's just easier to understand what it is. Okay, whatever the theme we are, I am just going to go with that idea that this is the same universe as my last game. Make an event. Old tower, don't need it to walk. It's below the characters on player touch. We're just going to show some text. That there's no longer, there are no any power or resources. And there are no longer any resources or okay, show another text. Another couple things in the system and the title. I'm going to set the music to none for now because I get tired of that blaring in my ear. don't really have a image. Alright, let's Command S, Command R. See what happens. Okay, he can't walk there. He can walk there. There are no longer any resources in the ability tower. I have to find another human settlement. Boom! That's how you know to get out of there, and it'll say that every time touches that, and then he has to navigate the world. Cannot get across the river. And that's a start. Okay. So there's that. Now that's our point A. Let's go make point B here. And this could have one of those modern buildings. I'll keep it consistent. Do I want a tower, a temple, a city? I'd kind of like some sort of like a research facility. This type of thing. Like Eden, paradise. The middle of the desert. There we go, there's point B. What happens when you get there, I haven't decided yet. Not working on game design document and that type of thing just yet. Just basic road. Okay, so there's the point B that the player has to get to. Let's have a canoe. Get that, it needs to be over here. The boat. What type of options do we have for the boat? Looks like the only small canoe type boat we have by default, so we'll take that. That starting position of the boat. Now I have a look. Where do the rivers lead? Let's test this out. First of all, I don't want any music playing while he's in the boat. Figure out what to do with music later. Set the starting position of the player to here just for testing purposes. That's kind of like the castle where I'm trying to get to. Okay, I was correct. And take the boat in the shallow water, so that will let the player get around those rocks blocking it and traverse over here where you can get out. And okay, gotta hit the button. You could traverse the rivers. Actually, I like that. You have to hit the button to exit the boat. And I can't exit right there. Like old school Final Fantasies, all you had to do was touch, and he would exit the boat. You could use the boat to navigate to point B. There we go. That's our game. That's our game loop. Thank you for playing. That's all there is to it. Alright. Now, what we need are some interesting moments. Well, there's first the idea that you're going to have waves of contagion or radiation come across the land, and you need to take shelter or go underground to avoid that. So now here's some caves, underground type things I could use, but you know what? They're all They all need an entrance. I mean, they all need an object that they are the entrance to. Kind of like something that just looks like a fallout shelter. Some towers. That would be good. Have in the scene somewhere. Give it more of that post-apocalyptic feel. Churches, temples, lighthouses. Like a train station. Like old train station. Here's some more. Again, those all look like the door to something that you'd have to build. I'm a lazy, lazy man. I don't want to have to build. Let's see what. Let me see how the player interacts. Or if I bump the mic. How does the player interact with these rock formations? And if anybody is watching, thinks the video is boring, this is game design. I'm gonna run a test. My hypothesis is that he'll walk through that. Yep. But oh, he'll walk through that too. Paint it over the rocks. Okay. So that door might be an option. And it's basically the same thing but filled in. Yeah. That's what I'm going to do. That's one type of shelter. I could go underground. One there. Oh, that's that same closed off one. In case player hangs around the tower too much. Another one there. Here's where we're going to get into trouble. Another one here. Essentially, player would have to get from here to here. Underground, take shelter. And from here to here. What does that look like just by itself? Looks kind of stupid. It looks kind of okay, but looks kind of stupid. Okay, there's another shelter. This will be a trick because you have to go all the way to the interior of this island to get to the shelter, which would be a challenge. Then you have to come all the way back out, get back to the boat. This is kind of a troll too. Well, there could be some shelters that are just there to be tricksy, precious. Just there to think you could get to it, and then it's actually not very easy to get to. Now the question is, I just leave it up to the player to explore to try to get to point B, or should there be reasons for visiting different shelters? Okay, let's back it out. See what I got. Hey, we can put one at island. See what I got in terms of shelters. Okay. I think it looks pretty good. There's intentionally, well, it looks almost symmetrical. Like, I'm thinking. I wanted to say it looks like on the right side there are less shelters because it's meant to be more difficult as you get closer towards the goal, but it looks pretty even and balanced. Okay. So what else would I need for this game? Got my starting point, end point, shelters, map for the shelters, and the question is, do I basically want to just create one map as an underground shelter? Or do I want to get creative? I mean, how many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. With 14 shelters the player can take shelter in. Do I want to create 14 different maps, or do I want to send them just to the same map over and over? Do I want like different supplies in each map? I'm thinking out loud, brainstorming. Go back to this. Just thinking out loud. What I think, in order to save myself some headache, is just create one map that is how all the shelters look like, and number each one 1 through 14. When the player goes into that map, it would have some sort of variable to say this is shelter 1, this is shelter number 7, this is shelter number 12, and then have events within that map to say, if you're in shelter number 7, there'll be a treasure chest with this item. If you're in shelter number 12, the treasure chest will instead have this kind of item. Okay. So let me start. I'm going to number the shelters. No, we'll create the map first. Let's see what kind of cave maps we have. I could design my own, but I'm a lazy, lazy man. And you're free to call me out on it in the comments for Ludum Dare. It has to be, okay. Stone cave. It's a different color. Lava cave. Don't need the lava cursed cave. Ice cave. Small town. Big city. Slump. Floating city. And I think these will be good in the other game idea I had. Military. Wasn't there another kind of military base? No, that's the outside. And these are the inside. Sewer. And I need something just about this size. Let me have a look. What's in this garage and how could we refine it? Now let's just remake this. Starting position player. See what the player collides with. Okay, player walks under that. Okay, so shelter 3 SF inside or fantasy. Yeah, we'll keep it SF. Specify battle back. I don't think that'll be necessary. Okay, we got the basics for what our underground shelter are going to look like. And I'm going to edit this, but I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Had to get some water. This microphone I'm wearing is pretty uncomfortable, so I like to take a break from it. Oh yeah. So I was thinking during the break about, how far I'm going to take this, because there's a possibility that, the theme is not one of these four ideas. But I don't want to get too heavy into the programming, since there's still a chance I might not use it. I'm just setting myself up with the basic project that I'll need. So the idea is we're going to come down here. Maybe there's some sand on the floor as you start to come into the shelter that's been prepared for humans as they make the trek across the wasteland. That was essentially the story of Air Marinade Gildo. So if we're in the same universe, what we got here? What we got? What's that floor look like? Yeah, that looks good. We could just coming in. Oh, that took away that thing. Well, let's run an experiment. Where is that thing, that cross beam? There we go. Hey, how about that? So, F it. Let's have the sandy floor just sort of cycle down. There we go. And I'm fine with the cross beam. I'll put it back in. Adds a little flavor. And now we're in this shelter. And what I'm going to do, keep the same floor. I think is this. And I'll keep the drainage pipes, that type of thing. Taking almost everything out. I'm gonna redesign. I'm gonna leave that blocker, not the graffitied one. Looks like some junk, some trash. Yep. We could leave that. All these nice tables and plants. Nuh-uh. None of that. None of that in the post-apocalypse. Okay. Ooh, we can make, I didn't notice that. We can make these beams all rusty. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I like this. I like this bed. Somebody was sleeping in this bed. All that trash by the floor. Let me need to find the wall. Oh, it was just a brick in the wall. Looks like a pillar. Like that's not the same thing. There we go. No calendar. There's a mirror, or I'd say it's more like a window. No windows. Underground. Could have had a phone. I don't know what that is. No windows. None of that. No jukebox. No plants. We've already got one electric meter or whatever that is. No fan. Well, I guess you need ventilation. But it's also like nuclear wasteland outside, so no fan. Okay, I don't have to delete the locker. That I have. What if there were a hole in the floor? Rusty holes here and there. This is the fun part, the creative part. Alright, so looking at these lights and things that are on the wall, I wonder if they've got, you know, trashy ones. So here's some of that stuff. Here's that junk. Oh, here's like a blood splatter. Ugh. There's that device on the wall. I don't want the player thinking that does something. Same with the phone. What's that? Old papers. Yeah, we can have old papers lying around the corner. This looks nasty. More junk. I don't know if it's starting to clutter. Clutter my room. What's this old junk? Garbage. Soda cans and stuff. Oh, I think that's the graffiti. Yep. What's this? Some old machine. Oh, that'll look in the corner. Looks like it's supposed to do something. Any broken down machines, things like that. Here's that locker. And that may be where the player goes to get some items. Yeah, this might be good. Like if we had a pillar that's holding the roof up. And then we had another one on the other side, but it's all broken. Okay, so the player's going to have to come in from the outside, go get the treasure from the locker. May or may not be able to use the bed because it's all tore up. Why can't I get more tore up stuff? Okay, you know what? That's good enough for now. Not really a whole lot to say about that. So let's have our player walk around. Okay, I can walk over the blood splat, not over the hole in the wall. Walk under that. Almost like something crawled in there. I can step on the papers. Ratty old bed. I mean, I could spend an infinite amount of time in here. But it gets the job done. Okay. So what do I have? I've got my world map. I've got my point A to point B. Player's gonna start right there by the old rundown tower. Have to make a way to the safe haven research facility. Cannot do that over land. So first have to get this canoe. Every so often there'll be a wave of radiation or contagion. Sweep the entire map. Player will have a warning, and then they will need to get to one of the shelters. When they get to the shelter, they are transferred to this map, where they can pick up some healing items or survival items, maybe some food, and using a combination of the shelters and the boat. Need to get to the research facility, but I think it's too easy to like take the boat, get to this shelter. You may struggle to get there in time, get back. Kinda don't want to make it so easy just to go from here to here. I want the player to, they're probably going to explore some because they don't know where the map, what the map looks like on a first playthrough, but I really don't want them just to go from the canoe to here. It looks unnatural, but let's cut them off. There. Kind of a troll. You think you can get there, but you can't. You are going to have to go through the interior somewhat. So what I think I'll do... How did that get down there? Yeah, that's not even possible to land there. I think that one was just a mistake. Okay, so this will force the player to go through the interior. Is that too mean? We're basically saying there's a set path. Zoom in here. Okay. If this is trying to force the player to go that way, that'll be their last shelter before they can get there. That would be the final lap from right around here. Park the boat, maybe take shelter for a while, and then get to the end. Okay. Okay. So again, without diving into a lot of programming, what else would I need for this project? This is just on the chance that it'll be one of the 4 themes of shelter, contagious, mutation, and underground. I think this is a good start, and I'm not going to dive too much into programming, mechanics, or any of that until I know what the theme actually is. Okay, so there's a base project for that. I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to come back here and create a new project called LD44. I'll call this Life for now. And while that's copying, let's review what our ideas are. So these are the ones highlighted in blue. Limited memory, your life is currency, side effects, possibly risky power-ups, and everything has a price in that you've got sort of modern life going on. And what are we going to need for this? Let's do our same old. First, tools, plugin manager, turn off, made with MV, mute the computer volume, run the game, turn down all the volumes to 20%, double check. Those are all 20%. Unmute the computer. Go to my actors, 1 playable character. Delete. Says I can use the delete key. Never works. And this is John. And apply all that. Same thing. LD44 life. New folder. Characters. Copy my character over. I shouldn't have done that. Go to the character creator. Load. We're in a different game project now. We're in the life project. I'm hoping it didn't. Oh, it totally did. Oh, fuck. Okay, little damage control. That totally did what I was hoping would not happen. Alright, what project is this? This is life. Don't get confused. Move you out of there. Then the olive green characters. That's olive green. This is a global game jam. Okay. Like, no. OG for the olive green project, or the original gangsta project. LD44. Alright. In theory, that fixed everything. Hmm. Well, I can do it all from here. Uh-oh. Okay. No, it didn't fix everything, but nothing is lost. This guy must be some kind of idiot. And mistakes are a big part of it. Well, we learn. I had $1 for every time I did something stupid. Add a game jam. That ate up a lot of time. I wouldn't even be here. Would not even be here. Okay, so this game, John's gotta be looking kind of modern. I think that's what I had before, but he didn't have the tie because he just came home from work and he was tired. Just kind of want like a t-shirt and some jeans, man. A t-shirt and some jeans. Alright, we'll go with tie. I like blue tie. My suit is black. What am I going to do for the eyes for this one? Maybe I have a couple different eyes. There. Okay. My screen, zoom in on the work being done. Export all of them. In the default folders, that's one thing I'd recommend. Don't try to get fancy with where you save things in RPG Maker. They just need to be saved where it wants to save it so that you can find it much easier later. Okay. Dude, that's why this gets so easy, because I just saved it where it told me to save it. Okay, there he is. Let's again be incredibly lazy and use one of the provided maps. What I did there in Global Game Jam too. That's Big City, huh? Raiding City. I think that's like a fantasy setting. Underground town. I like that better. Downtown. Why does it have to look all dirty? Business district. Do, do, do. Hmm. And these are all interiors, which I can use, so let's go with suburbs. Yeah, this has a lot to it. Good. We'll start, John, right here in front of this building. Looks like a mansion, but who knows what we'll call it. Delete the default grass map. Edit this suburbs map. 2. Don't need a battle pack. Okay, so this project is for limited memory, your life is currency, side effects, risky power-ups. Everything has a price, and that you have to do daily things in life, and that each has its own trade-off. And I picked this map because it has a lot of things going on in it. Park. So you go to some of these places for work. And like something's a movie theater or shopping. And again, I can redesign this as I need to. So let me think. What am I needing to redesign, if anything? This is me thinking. One thing I don't like. Okay. And I'm going to replace the artwork later, but just for kicks and giggles. And to avoid confusion, let's pick another different opening. Yeah, this one. Okay. I don't want that screaming in my ear either. Trying to see what the player will or will not collide with. Okay, that all becomes a wall. Freeze. And here's what I don't like. Just hitting the edge of the map with no visual feedback for the player. Okay. Let's just find some fencing or some road closure signs. Put a tank in the way. What if we just did like... then that blocks those houses. Kind of like a bunch of individual holes. Do I want that, or do I want... The point is the player collides with it. That's what I was testing. Yeah, that looks more natural. Okay, just a visual feedback that the player cannot go there. And do I want to start doing the game design document and everything for this? Or just leave this? This has so much more already built into it that will serve the purpose of my game ideas that the other map did not, so that's why I had to spend some time with it. With the other one. Lots of ideas, but again, which theme it's going to be will kind of determine. Already got that project. I wonder if we can try this mirror idea. And this is when we Google stuff. RPG Maker MV Mirror. Sorry. Hmm. Um, I think that moderators on forums have to deal with a lot. And other times it's like the end of the world if somebody asked a repeat question or something. Nobody reads the rules, the terms of agreement. And then it's like, according to Article 3, Clause 4, blah, 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 you have asked the same question. All right. This may be what I want. Set reflection tiles based on terrain. Okay. Uh-oh. Well, was this for MV? I need to be careful. I could, I'm in VX Ace. So that goes back to like what the moderator. Somebody's asking for something in MV and they're like, here's this thing in VX Ace. That doesn't really help. This is VX Ace too. This is an old post. This is VX Ace. Man, the video is so boring. All that guy did was Google stuff. Welcome to game development. This is most likely. Okay. Uh-huh. I just want like one giant mirror. Free for non-commercial and commercial use. Alright, I like that. What's all this Korean? Almost cussed. Sorry. Okay. Put that back off to the side. Let's load a map. Again, this is just for testing purposes. Let's clear off everything on that wall. Hey. What do you even do? Nothing. Reading about the mirrors. Alright, let's see what type of images we have. I should have read this. How to use. If there are many mirrors, be careful. That's because the performance can slow. Show up the character image inside the mirror. You set up the comment in a mirror event and change an image as a mirror. Try to set up this comment to player and players, followers. Okay. What I'm looking for is that mirror image. I'll probably have to get it from here. From the tile set. I like this mirror. And we said comment. Comment. Mirror. Mirror underscore normal. Hope that's right. Prepared for this not to work. Huh. It kind of worked. Oh, I get the problem. I know exactly what the problem is. And I wonder if I can hack old boy's script. Here's the problem. He wrote this script to cover either this specific mirror, and that's what's going on in my game, is I set it to be just that mirror, and that's why only the character's head is showing. And the other is that, which that's even smaller. That would be even worse. So oh man, we're gonna have to get hacker with this. We're gonna have to get hacker with this, which might be fun, but is kind of frustrating. And again, this is only for the idea of only one enemy, where the enemy is yourself in the mirror. Did I close out of the game? I think I did. Excuse me, water break, water break. Well, if I've got to hack a script, let's do it. For results. Try to set up this comment. It's Korean. Okay, it doesn't help. That's just hard to read. We have a mirror area, variable rs equals rs, mirror area dot params function sprite mirror, mirror, oh mirror,